All right, let's jump right into a thought experiment that honestly gets to the very core of how we live our lives today. We're going to find out what happens when the one thing connecting almost everything we do just vanishes. Seriously, just picture it for a second. You reach into your pocket, your bag, and nothing. It's gone. That little jolt of panic, right? But what if it was way, way bigger than that?
I mean everything. Not just the cash you had on you, but every single cent. You check your phone, and that number is just zero. Your cards don't work. For the next 48 hours, your entire financial world is completely wiped.
And all of a sudden, the simplest things are impossible. How do you get home from work? What are you going to have for dinner? What if you need anything? Suddenly, the ground beneath your feet is just gone. And this is where it hits you. Money is the silent partner in basically everything. It's the invisible scaffolding for what we eat, where we go, and honestly, how safe we feel. So let's pull on that thread and see what happens when it all unravels. So, to really get this, we're not just going to guess. No, we're going to walk through this whole experience, hour by hour. We're following a timeline that shows just how fast things can change when the rules of the game are completely rewritten. So here's our journey. It all starts with confidence, feeling like I got this. But that wears off fast and turns into real physical hunger. Then the psychological battle kicks in, and pride starts to break down. And as we push through to the end, time itself starts to feel different, which leads to this really powerful new kind of awareness. Okay, so in that first hour, your brain's feeling pretty good about this. It's not a crisis, right? It's a challenge. It's a game. You're telling yourself, come on, people survive way worse than this. It's just 2 days. How hard can it possibly be? And your brain immediately switches into this tactical problem-solving mode. Okay, easy. I'll just walk instead of taking the bus. I'll drink water from the tap. I'll just stay home and not spend anything. It feels so simple, so manageable. But that feeling of being in control, yeah, that is not going to last. And here we go. We're about to hit our first major wall. That initial burst of confidence is about to run headfirst into a very basic, very powerful biological fact. It's right around the 6-hour mark that this stops feeling like some fun little game. The hunger sets in. And it's not just a, I could eat kind of hunger. It's a deep, distracting ache. This is the first big turning point, where your body just completely takes over. And the whole world just changes. You know that pizza place you walk by every day? Well, now, the smell is just intoxicating. The food ads on TV and billboards, they're practically screaming at you. Your brain has become a laser-focused missile for one thing and one thing only: calories. And this is where a really profound realization kicks in. Money doesn't just buy you a sandwich. It buys you the freedom from having to think about that sandwich 24/7. It buys you mental peace. And when that's gone, the noise in your head is absolutely deafening. So once that physical reality has firmly set in, a whole new challenge pops up. And this one is so much trickier. This is where the experiment stops being about your stomach and starts being about your spirit. By about hour 12, you're exhausted. And now you're facing a whole new dilemma. Do you call a friend and ask for help? Do you, borrow some food? Do you let someone do you a favor? These aren't just practical questions anymore. They're deeply emotional. And here's the absolute key difference. See, going without food, that's a physical struggle. But having to ask for help, that's a psychological one. It feels like a direct hit to your pride, to your independence, to your feeling of being a capable adult. And for a lot of us, that's way, way harder to deal with than an empty stomach. Something really weird starts to happen once you cross that 24-hour finish line. The frantic, desperate search for food or comfort starts to fade. And you kind of enter this new phase. It's quieter and, honestly, a lot more profound. Think about it. When you can't spend money, all the usual little distractions, grabbing a coffee, browsing in a store, buying a movie ticket, they're just gone. And you're left with time. Just pure, unfiltered time. And in that quiet space, you start to actually notice things. Conversations you have feel deeper. A small act of kindness from a stranger feels like this massive event. You become truly, genuinely present. And this sums up the strange paradox of the whole thing, doesn't it? Your physical world, the places you can go, the things you can do, it becomes tiny. But your inner world, your awareness of what actually matters, that expands in a way you could never have predicted.
Now we're in the home stretch of the 48 hours, and the pure survival instinct starts to give way to clarity. You stop just feeling the lack of money, and you start seeing how it works in the world all around you. And it's like a switch flips. You suddenly see the invisible rules of society. You realize that to even exist in public spaces, to access food, to get from one place to another, even to be treated with basic dignity, our world is built on the silent assumption that you have money. Without it, you're an outsider in a system you never even realized you were playing in. And that brings us to the big one, the inescapable truth of this whole thing. It's a cliche we've all heard a million times, but when you live it, even for 2 days, it has this terrifying new weight. Money may not be the key to happiness, sure, but having absolutely none of it changes your entire reality.
You know, the point of an ordeal like this, it isn't about proving how tough you are. It's not going to make you some stronger, better person. What it does is it rips back a layer of the world that's normally invisible, and it makes you deeply, profoundly aware. Aware of privilege, aware of dependency, and aware of just how fragile this whole modern life thing really is.
So, I've got to turn the question over to you. After walking through this whole timeline, seeing the physical, the mental, the social shifts, what do you think? Could you actually do it? And what do you think would be the hardest part for you?
Hey, if this explainer made you stop and think, do me a favor and hit that like button. And I genuinely want to know what you think, so drop your answer in the comments below. And of course, subscribe for more thought experiments that dive into the stuff that really shapes our lives. We'll just leave you with this one last thought. It's funny how sometimes it's not until something is completely gone that we can finally see what it really was and everything it allowed us to be. Thanks so much for watching.